Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, innovating, and amazing Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, the one, the only master propaganda hero, like defender of the fatherland, off here to a 1v1 on Amilly Fields. The north is Ruby, fighting for the Red Army, the Soviet Union, Comrade Stalin, and the 12th Guard Tank Corps here with airborne troop tactics, guard motor, and armored assault. In the south, it is IncaUna, fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Here with the 16th Panzergrenadier featuring festering armor, Jaeger infantry, and lightning war. Bit of an emphasis on D34 upgrades, possibly. Grenadier MD42 versus WNS contracts here. And as always, a big hearty thanks to my patron support. Without them and their heroic efforts, the Propagandacast would not be possible. Big thanks to all those. Other people can drop links for Patreon, or you can donate via PayPal to support the Propagandacast that way. That would also be out a lot there. Links are in the video description as well for that. And finally, just commenting, liking, sharing, subscribing is another way to assist. So, second consequence for Ruby, slowly moving in that infantry after the units have been dispatched first. Eastern bound path here for IncaUna and the German army, the pioneers, and then MD42 forming up the vanguard of the Third Reich here, and Basel forming up the vanguard of kitties that want food. Gonna use ground the pawn here close to the base, and these on the west side here for Ruby. Gonna use an eastwards here. And a other squad heading for the western fuel. Yes, Basel. We know you want attention, we know you want food. But why there by the eastern fuel point on top of the sandbags? Well, actually not quite there. MD42 here. Bit of quados. Got the info definitely in a bit more aggressive position coming to the field in case Ruby decides to make a major move there. Yes, Basel. The viewers have heard you. Ground the center of the Grenadier. Second squad ready here. And no, Basel. Bad cat. Tried to chew the headset cable. Machinery proceeding towards the east to deal with a socialist advance there. We're actually like 2 minutes of the game. I don't think we need a single shot fire. There we go. Engineers to cope with the info too soon. Grenadier squad number 3 on the way for IncaUna. Engineers backing off here. 3 conscript to engineers. Slightly got a motor, but could still be airborne troops or armored assault here from Ruby. We'll have to see. As for IncaUna, could be anything. I mean, this is about as bog standard a Wehrmacht opening as you get. Pioneers and engineers here could lead to anything, really. Engineers routed, overcome by the might of the MP forces at closer quarters, cut to their flank from the center towards the rear of the Grenadiers here. Even as IncaUna does further westwards, he does risk getting outmaneuvered. We also get a bit of barbed wire here in the field of dead cows from Ruby. 1 squad rider, but there's still more infantry here from Ruby under his Marxist-Leninist command here to tackle IncaUna's forces. Grenadiers being led out by multitudes of Soviet infantry there, slowly surrounded there. Got the flamethrower team arrives. We couldn't even see a wipe here on IncaUna's Grenadiers, but no, IncaUna apparently has someone above there watching a bit there. Perhaps packed with RNGs, I do not know, but that Grenadier squad very narrowly avoided total annihilation at the hands of the Red Army. There you go, MD42 man to stabilize here. 2 squads here under Ruby's command suppressed. We got a 4th Grenadier squad for IncaUna. The German army commits fully here with the 16th Panzergrenadier Division. Grenadiers machining westwards here. Some conscript up behind the trough there. The engineers hoping to crawl away. They're hoping the Germans don't notice them, so you can get unsuppressed. There you go, moving with the flamethrower again. Up north, engineers pushing eastwards there. Could try and go there for IncaUna's eastern holdings. 4th Grenadiers got the ready sails reinforcing. Ruby with the ever classic Guard motor. By far the most popular commander throughout campaign history as well, I imagine. Thanks to the T-35, heavy mortars, Guard rifle infantry, vehicle repair training, of course, marked vehicle, a selection of potent yet simple and easy to use abilities and units. Pioneers and engineers there. Grenadiers at the centre here against the conscripts there. But certainly having 4 Grenadier squads versus the 3 conscript squads of Ruby on top of the IncaUna does give IncaUna the potential for having a strong early game versus the Soviets. The question, of course, can he leverage it and can Ruby somehow counter this? Obviously, he's probably going to try for guards, rifle infantry with their own DP light machine guns to tackle the Grenadiers that way. But until then, he will have to weather the storm here of the Third Reich that IncaUna is most viciously unleashing upon here Ruby now. Now, of course, we'll try to rush a T7 here versus IncaUna. And there you go, pushing for some fuel point. He missed 2 Grenadier squads eastwards here. More barbed wire up there from Ruby. Engineers, controllers, the Grenadiers that need to merge the conscripts and engineers. There we go. Thumbs up to Ruby. Burning through the Grenadiers there rapidly and sending them packing. The west side, he goes putting the conscripts in the heavy cover. They can only have this long, even with the heavy cover against that many Germans with that many guns. You also got to take up IncaUna with the light mechanized complete, which will, I think, inevitably lead to 2-2. Guards rifle squad there for Ruby. Thumbs up. And the DP light machines already on the way there. Mines in the center there. Eastern point's been grabbed away here from the German army. Even as IncaUna, the 16th Panzer Division, laying claim to the west side of the map here. Mine down there in the center from Ruby. Flanking up behind IncaUna here. No commander yet though for him. And his German compatriots that we do get like machine guns, so less likely Jaeger infantry lightning bolt. There could still be lightning bolt just for the Tiger tank and the Stuka air support. Could also be festering armor here. So a few options here for IncaUna, of course, have to see which he picks. Well, there you go, guards called ready with their anti-tank rifles, the rifles and the DP light machines. Quick rifling off, they're killing Constantine, squishing his body there in a lot of directions. And there you go, the 2-2 with IncaUna and the 16th Panzer Gunner Division guns pushing east with the LMG-42. Out in the other conscripts, the light machine will not avail them much here. 2-2 halfway done. Tech, I think, for Ruby. No, it's just mines. He's yet. Oh, there we go. Do get tech at the base. Troops reinforcing healing here. In theory, Ruby could go, of course, go for second guard squad here to challenge the 2-2. Two guard squads can definitely make short work of an armored car. Never mind any infantry. But there you go, more mines here will certainly make any advance here for IncaUna just a bit more painful. He doesn't have any minesweepers as of yet either. So there we go, 2-2 up, like to punch a Spielwagen. Controlling on the west side here. Armored covers the country in the heavy cover by the eastern fuel point. They're being slowly lit up. Nice use the armored car there. Staying at the edge here, the periphery, so they can't easily rush at it, but also trying to slow them into position. We can just deny them the cover bonus. Since heavy cover is directional, meaning they're firing from any angle, other angle than where the cover actually covers, as you can see, they're going to take full damage. There goes straight to mine there. Friedrich and Heinz blown to bits. Guardsmen pushing eastwards. Yes, Basil. Guardsmen. Grabbing back the eastern fuel point, even as Ruby's doing the same in the west here. Got the tank about that, probably going to be T-something for Ruby versus IncaUna, who does have a Pack 40 ready to meet any such socialist tank head on. No grenade upgrade for Ruby either, at least not what I've noticed. And he probably won't go for it anytime soon because I imagine at this point the priority will be the T-Sim light tank here from Ruby to that way put some more mech. Oh, he does go for it. Well, never mind then. Just, okay, now he cancels it. And goes for the half track instead. I mean, that's obviously not a bad choice either. Port Monty is also very good on this map. Can easily get around the German lines. Murder out the infantry support them rapidly. Can also do fairly well versus the 2-2. But it also, of course, by going for the half-track, you more easily push for the Mechanized Armor Company and T-34s, which is one primary reason you'll see half-track being fairly popular with some players like they can go for it. Still get a great, early mid-game effect with it to pressure the opponent, but they can also free up more resources for the tanks faster. So there's definitely some considerations there in that. So there you go. Court mount is being answered. The M5 half techniques up in years being pushed back. And these was one conscript there. No light machines yet. And IncaUna continues to be without a commander here. In the west, the armored car strikes the half to those moving forward. See, Dimitri, the lone gunner, fires his 5th count for now here at the 2-2. And of course, IncaUna quickly senses what's going on, then backs off this armored car. But also, I think in part to try and bait the half track into the Pack 40 there. Almost got it too. There we go. 2-2 push back, but the half-tank is heavily damaged already. He will have to disengage and pull back for repairs because one more shot from the Pack 40 will, of course, utterly destroy his half-track, which would be very counterproductive for Ruby right now. As for IncaUna, bunker up there in his base. No tech yet. Kindly commandant. The 16th Panzer Division's headquarters remains scarce with its plans. Infantry ready at the center, wishing it had some ambush camouflage. You know, Jürgen, I can't help but feel this would be a great position for some ambush camouflage. You know, set up some machine gun gewehr, they can't see us, and he murdered them at a nice discreet range. Yeah. I wonder if they also ambush camouflage event. Well, I heard Göring is having a party, and he wants to set up some weird thing that's ambush camouflage. Well, that's a bit stupid, isn't it? Well, it is Göring. Yeah, touche. Counter push with Eastern fuel point. He's ready. They're being fixed up. No tech yet. From him or for Ruby. Heavy mortar out there, the HM38 120mm mortar, which in German service would be the Granatenwerfer 43, because they just straight up copied it. Because they realised, hang on, this thing's really good. So that's what they did. Good hit from the pack on the half to there. Ruby definitely sent on a bit too blindly here, and there you go. Fritz for the Panther pass. Almost got the half track here. Can Ruby block a further pursuit here, or will IncaUna be able to finish off the half track? It looks like chances are pretty high. He almost got the half track. Not rushing into block it either. Doesn't know how to take grenades. Guards when they're arriving, but they're too late to save the half track. Can they at least avenge it? Looks like the answer to that one is niet. Grenade off there. Almost got the pack there, but it also escapes here as IncaUna goes to lay down some intense firepower. We do get lightning wall with G33s, which I'm guessing he's not going for. Tactical movement, relief infantry, tiger tanks, and the Stuka air support. Sniper here for IncaUna. At this point, it's an interesting choice there. More, and now we got more fire calls going down IncaUna's men. Guardsmen there fighting on, but I think they'll have to retreat soon. They are low on health here. The numbers are steady dropping. Of course, we see here Ruby is quick to merge a few counters with them, getting up to full strength again. Congratulations, comrades! You're all guardsmen. Hooray! Does this mean increased pay? No. More vodka? Maybe if you survive. Oh. Grab the western point here. Mines up there. No tech yet for IncaUna or Ruby. Another player yet quite moving on to the medium armor stage here. Smoke being deployed there to cover up the advance. Thumbs up to Ruby. Though, in this case, not quite enough to deal with the machine gun, which IncaUna very definitely repositioned just a bit. And that, of course, is a smart trick there. Like, if you know your opponent's artillery, which they may use for either just high explosives or smoke, it doesn't hurt to like reposition your machine guns from time to time to make it a bit harder than just to pour smoke on it. East side heat grenades for the conscripts there. Back at base, we do get the tech there for Ruby and the Red Army. We'll actually be able to go for T-45 soon. You can also, of course, start upgrading his conscripts with the mobilized reserves upgrade. Conscript routed. But definitely fierce field fighting here between Ruby and IncaUna, with IncaUna so far looking to fall a bit behind on fuel. He does take up though now. So thumbs up to that. Sniper in the centers and Pioneer supporting as well. Mechanized Summer Company ready here for Ruby and the Red Army, the 12th Guards Tank Corps. We'll have to see if it starts upgrading. There we go. 2 squads already getting the mobilized reserves upgrade. Armored car there, spotting for the sniper. 3 kills so far to his name. Sniper, they're landing some more kills on the conscripts. Got 4 kills so far on the sniper. Die Scharfschütze. Doing this from the western fuel point here. Looking to establish fuel dominance. Never a bad idea, honestly. Armor capturing the conscript. Sniper, of course, continues to provide support. Also got all 3 victory points on the control here of IncaUna, whereas Ruby could do a bit of work there. We're going to finish the conscript east here. Pioneer's basically in the center. Ruby getting ammo close to that T-45. I mean, fuel-wise, he's pretty much there. It's just the manpower that Ruby now needs to go for the T-45. So can he get there? I imagine the answer to that is yes. There we go. Can now call in the T-3485 to tackle IncaUna. Just needs to press that button. Just needs to press that button, Ruby. There we go. T-35 on the way here. IncaUna has yet built a support core at all, so that T-35 is going to have a bit of a shock impact here on IncaUna. Mortar there also landing awfully close. Easily contribute about the Grenadiers there. We got all 4 squads now equipped with the MG42 and all 3 conscript squads equipped with the Mobilized Reserves upgrade. Note though, by 1944-45, even the Soviet army was starting to see manpower issues. As a fun side note. Which resulted in, for example, starting to take people out of the gulags and such to be put into frontline troops, and people normally being shot or whatnot, you just sent back in, again, the manpower issues were starting to become a bit of a problem as well for the Red Army, and some units would be consistently under strength from 1944 onwards. So, little fun fact there. T-35 firing up against the Grenadiers. Push them back. Armoured car, they're scouting a bit on the right flank here. Obviously every army by 1944-45 was starting to see manpower issues. Even the Americans, the British, obviously the Germans, the Soviets, they all were pretty much having issues with manpower. So Paul McCart there for IncaUna. But yeah, the T-35 until then will be a problem for them, and even then a single Panther will struggle against this, especially if Ruby gets both fuel pods to control again, starts pushing for more T-35s. It could become a significant challenge here for IncaUna. We'll have to see how he responds to this. Stoops, of course, could be an excellent option. T-35 then getting Grenadiers. Here's the conscripts. Here's the armored car. T-35 against the Grenadiers here. A lot of infantry supports need to be careful there. East side here, bit of moving up the eastern fuel pond there. Good sneaky move there by Ruby against IncaUna's right flank, which is definitely wide open. And also crucially again looks to establish your dominance. Support core is up, you can start pushing for some armor, and I would certainly strongly recommend that. He could at this stage, considering how close he is to the 11 command points and how many resources has been, tend to go for the Tiger tank. But that's definitely going to involve some risks here, in particular with the way the fuel points are going to be controlled fairly efficiently by Ruby for IncaUna. So certainly would not advise it, but I could see it happening here. No, there we go, we do get the Panther 4 thumbs up to IncaUna. Center point being grabbed here, and certainly one thing Ruby I think needs to focus a bit more on now are the victory points here. It's good to control the fuel points, but if your opponent managed to get a victory point lead that's too big, there might be some slight issues at some point. Okay, cancel the Panther 4, does after all go for T4 again. Could maybe make it work, but it's certainly not without risks. It is not without its risks here for IncaUna and the German army. Grand Western victory point, Eastern one being grabbed now by the Grenadiers here. IncaUna also probing the right flank here, showing that he too can sneak in a few units here and there.
We are losing supplies to the enemy.
Sniper kill then here. Mortar hasn't used the barrage very much, which is one thing you do need to remember about this. Any mortars, you need to use the mortar barrage ability for it to be fairly efficient. Mine to the west here from Ruby, very good. Grenadiers then nearing the ace level. There we go, smoke being deployed here. T-35 getting the armored car. Great hit and almost takes up, but somehow, again, IncaUna there has a unit survived with a tiny sliver of health there. That is incredible. Eastern fuel then grabbed back with the Grenadiers for the umpteenth time here. That fuel pond has changed hands a lot of time by now. West side guns being repositioned. Engineers holding up the west here. Might continue to pay off nicely for Ruby as IncaUna continues to struggle to spot them. Armored car being fixed up. He is getting there with the Tiger tank. We're roughly a bit over a minute away now from IncaUna. The Ruby is not far away from another T-35 on A-35, which combined with marked vehicle could then make fairly short work with the Tiger tank if IncaUna is careless or Ruby pulls off a really good push. Since the marked vehicle increase the damage taken. So that means a target tank, for example's massive health total suddenly starts mattering a lot less. Attack being pushed back here. Damage engine on the 2-2. Down to half health, in fact. Field on the way there for Ruby. I think Ruby at this point has realised he hasn't seen like any tanks for quite some time now, and he knows his opponent has one command with a target tank in it, so I think it is safe to assume here that Ruby is assuming his opponent's throwing pick for the target tank, which I think is definitely the right sort of the situation here. T-35 straight into the Pack 40, which punches cleanly through the armour. Field gun almost done there for Ruby. He's also getting not far away from like additional armour or a tank destroyer. And IncaUna is momentarily from that Tiger tank here. 504th straight up pumped up tar line, providing some support here for IncaUna and the 16th Panzer Grenadier Division. There you go. Tiger tank has arrived. The Tiger 1. Then there's the contours there. Fixing up the T-3485. Comes to the contour in the centre. Armour car pushing eastwards here. Tiger taking fort and the pin mounted MG42. So that could be a bit of a challenge here for Ruby, depending on how IncaUna handles the target and of course how Ruby responds to it. Contour being pushed back. Almost got a full wipe there on one of Ruby's infantry squads. That'd been great there for IncaUna could land the wipe fully. But fortune this time smiles upon Ruby for once. It's another creeping head. They're thinking there, you know, okay, there we go, all sneaky like, but turns out they weren't at least a bit there after some time. T-35, they're rushing straight into the German gun line, the main focal point there, and unsurprisingly takes a lot of damage. Now they're almost wiped up, but again, IncaUna getting a bit lucky. Tiger tank there, still with one kill on the west side of that's coming between the Grenadiers and the conscripts. With the Grenadiers unable to like really make progress. We've got mines in the west here. Ruby looking to forestall like any attempt to make a German armor breakthrough there. I think that is a very smart idea. Tiger tank moving forwards again here. Great from the field gun there on the Tiger tank's frontal armor. Another bounce, back at base of IncaUna, took reinforcing healing. Nothing further transpiring in his base as of yet. Going for the eastern fuel or victory point again. We got 391 versus 210. Ruby is now closing the gap a bit up here between him and IncaUna. I'm guessing it's going to be an issue to 5 next to really tackle the Tiger tank next to challenge it. They could still go for another T-35, and again, you should definitely use some marked vehicles as well against the king of the Tiger tank. And the west side goes for the contours here. Now with 2 squads of light machine guns, the situation for the contour goes a bit more dire there on the west. Smoke in the centre here. And there you go, Fielding gets a great hit on the Tiger tank frontal armour. Armoured covers the T-35 here. East side remains pretty heavy focus on there. Go air support called in. IncaUna calls in the Luftwaffe. And it's Kanonenvogel to engage the T-35. But Ruby is able to fairly deftly get the T-35 there away from the Luftwaffe. Sharp response there by Ruby. And certainly one could also argue a bit premature call in there by IncaUna then. Another fielding for Ruby. Rather than a tank destroy another T-35, makes you wonder what exactly Ruby is thinking here. There you go. Damage. Engine on the Tiger tank there. West side again is pushing for the fuel point. And another set of mines here. Immediately retreats. We also got a gun escort lost but then replaced. Thumbs up to IncaUna. Second field gun right around the corner here for Ruby and the Red Army. The manpower's definitely being flooded. I'm surprised we're not seeing more armor here from Ruby. Does make you wonder what exactly he's planning there. There you go, almost got the conscript. There we go. Explosions going all over the place here. West side here, slow advance here from Ruby. Keeping the T-35 away from the Tiger tank for now, which I mean makes sense. Oh, going for deep flank, which also makes sense. There you go, company taking a hammer hit here from the Tiger tank. Machine gun center being flanked with the T-35. It's 85 gun. The machine gun there ripping through the machine gun crew. Pushing that back quite efficiently. Another hit here from the Pack 40. Well positioned there by IncaUna. East side there. Conscripts push back. Narrowly surviving total annihilation, but are nearly annihilated. Back at base for IncaUna. Nothing further happening yet. And Ruby continues just to be a one tank man. Heavy mortar fire here, raining down in the east. Gun is busy with eastern field point. Mines in the center there as Ruby once more looks to prepare for any German advance. And of course, blow it up. Great shot from the 40. Dimitri there, caught in the Pack's line of fire there. Got murdered as well there. Unsurprisingly. Thing is, like, even though, like, you know, you didn't get hit directly by an anti-tank round, if like right next to the shot, like say near a tank, you can still like die from it. I still remember one account from Normandy where a basically, you know, tanker was setting up, you know, a driver was setting up from his tank hatch. Pack shot goes right behind, next to him, and basically just the shock wave from the, you know, anti-tank shell hitting the armor, even if it failed to penetrate, just pretty much pulverized his brain. I'll spare you the more gruesome details of it, but suffice to say, yeah, that was a very nice way to go. So, anyways, going to the country in the east. Smoke in the center here from Ruby and his mortar again. Very considered use of smoke there. Thumbs up. And that following up the mortar barrage on the MG42 crew. Finish the country in the east here. We got Fin 18 is on 96. Close run there, but not quite. I do wonder what Ruby's planning with his armor. Like, you still just got one T-45, and typically so you just want like multitudes of tanks. So Ruby going away from that one definitely strikes me as a bit inefficient. Like the T-35s and T-34s and 6 is just getting a bunch, and in particular with Gatmoto just going for marked vehicle typically tends to be a winning strategy. So you can take down very large targets, like the Tiger tank pretty quickly. Got say, you know, 3 T-35s or 76s, or 4 of them with 76s, and then marked vehicle just quickly rip a Tiger tank apart here. So Ruby just sticking to one tank definitely strikes me as not the optimal solo play. There we go. Hey, Mortal lands another gruesome hit on the machine crew, almost wiping it out. The east side here, going to push back the conscripts. Got the T-35 moving in, and we got near veteran 2 on that one. There you go. That next level of veterans you gained here for the Red Army. Ruby back to bleeding out IncaUna. They got on the west side. We got the Tiger tank striking here. Very close to Veteran 1 itself. 10 kills for Svaziland. There you go. Cover shattered. The conscript standing in complete shock as what they thought was safe no longer is, and then several of the men get blown to bits. Tiger tank reaching Veterans 1, opening up for the Blitzkrieg tactics ability. Another T-35 here for Ruby, and then Engineers taking a nasty hit. Mine goes off as well there. Further casualties being inflicted on Ruby as IncaUna's Tiger tank lumbers forwards like a steel behemoth. There you go, straight into the double anti-tanks of Ruby. Several hits go through, then T-35 in fact almost take it out here. If you combine this maybe with marked target, that target tank could possibly have been a debt there. But I'm surprised that the Ruby is not in use of marked vehicle at all. It is an incredibly powerful ability. Anyways, second T-35 finally for Ruby. First one could do with some repairs meanwhile. There you go, second one ready. Meanwhile, IncaUna of course could consider going for some more medium armor to support his Tiger tank, Panzer IV, Stug, Ostwind. I'd say all are equally viable choices depending on what exactly he wants to do with them. But I definitely think he needs to, like, you know, do something with it. East side here, roughly against the Guardsmen there. They are clinging onto the heavy cover there, but the question is how long can they maintain the position when they're already so low and healthy? And the Germans are not. Panzer IV there for IncaUna and the German army, Reich. Got the T-35 moving up west side here with Ruby, looking to perhaps flank around the Tiger tank, though, with just one T-35. Well, he is bringing the field guns as well, but... Okay, there you go. This time he does mark, but I feel like he should have done this a bit at a better timing here in this case. But obviously does force IncaUna to pull back. The Tiger tank, you know, risk itself as too much damage on it. And then certainly I think a lot of players just use marked vehicle. In a sense, it's kind of like, you know, voluntarily forced retreating your opponent's tank. Like, you know, most players are not going to keep whatever you just marked there around on the front line to get murdered. And there you go, sniper caught with the T-35 here, could get a wipe here. Will he manage it? And there you go, the sniper gets hit by an 85mm high explosive shell and unsurprisingly dies. Tiger tank rushing into this. Pack forward with the target weak point on the T-35 here. More damage inflicted. There you go, damaging the tiger tank. It is down to less than half of. There you go. A flurry of Pantherfast impact on the T-35 there. And the tiger tank finish off there. Quite a blow there to Ruby. Conscripts are busy with the pack. Other tank is doing nothing. The field gun's trying to punch through the center here. I feel like Ruby got paralyzed a bit here in terms of decision making, and this has allowed IncaUna to slap him into the ground, and casualties are piling up for Ruby now. Whereas IncaUna in comparison just didn't suffer as much. And he's got a veteran T2 target tank, which is certainly an increased problem here for Ruby due to its increase in accuracy and range eventually too. Which is where the target tank typically tends to get fairly nasty. So I feel like that was a missed opportunity here by Ruby. Had him so, committed that with the other T-35, I think his chance of taking out the tag tank would have been fairly decent. But ultimately, Ruby fell a bit short there of the Rubicon and got punched in the nose. T-35 going for the Grenadiers. Center being grabbed with the knees pushing the Western point as well here. Ruby, of course, now being much more acutely aware of the victory points and, of course, needing to keep IncaUna there in check. Smoke again, thumbs up. T-35 straight into the pack 40 here, eventually too. And a target weak point again, very consistent use of that ability. Most players will very rarely utilize the ability, but it is very powerful. In fact, it's so powerful that when the Stuke had it, they nerfed it. Use push back in for the target tank. So yeah, really powerful ability, and one I think more players should use more consistently. And as like side note there, it was actually not uncommon on Eastern Front for tank crews to actually have like on the inside of the gun shield a little silhouettes there painted of different Soviet tanks with then red marks to highlight the weak spots. So the whole target weak point here effectively is a reference to that little trick that the Germans did, thus making it easy for the anti-tank guns just quickly mark out the weak spots and hit them. T-35 there being fixed up by Ruby. Back at base here for IncaUna, nothing further happening. Tiger tank remaining here in a waiting position, reserve here in the east. And there you go, constantly another hit from the Tiger tank, and there you go, Yevgeny, Dmitry, and Sergei rapidly dying. And there you go, double field hits plus another marked vehicle. But once more notice, it is far away there, in terms of its marks, you can just quickly get away there. Which of course might be the intended move there of Ruby, but it also means definitely got to be finishing off here. West side, we got the T-35 coming up there. Ruby still, I think, needs more tanks here. Just having one T-35 is just insufficient in my book here. That he needs a lot more infantry. Right now, I think Ruby just doesn't have a good balance of assault elements, hit IncaUna hard here. Then he's got to take a hit into a mine on retreat. Depends strong westward pack, 40 backing up, there you go. Quick exchange of fire here between the Soviets and the Germans on the west side here, but the T-35 there is definitely not winning this exchange so far. Constantly up here for Ruby in the center there. Machine gun once being bombarded by the Soviet heavy mortar. 8 kills, 9 kills, almost ace level. Tiger tank there, almost fixed up again. You've got 222 versus 149. Victory points wise. Ruby's actually been able to close the gap between him and IncaUna fairly well, but even then IncaUna still has a lead here over Ruby, just not quite as dramatic as it used to be. Ace Scouts with gunnies in the center. Slowing forward here. Might see a rough grenade on the guardsman, since in that position they're fairly easy to hit, and then your hay mortars have added. Very, very, very close to the east level. Tiger tank and Ruby here with the Deutschland and Reich, and there you go, excellent hit here. 26 kills. Feels the Faserland. Slowly approaching the ace level there. And there you go, Mark tired again. Heavy fire on the Tiger tank. There we go. A smashing hit. They're causing significant structural damage to the Tiger tank. Pushing down to less than half health here. Finishing up the center here. Actually found the for Ruby. finally. Again, still has plenty of fuel, and I feel like I'd have just gone for more tanks sooner. I think it could have always build up more tanks, because that way the tanks would have more of the fighting, and it would have been bleeding less on its infantry. That way, it would make it easier to build up more tanks. So I feel like, again, that way Ruby made a bit of a strategic error here versus IncaUna. And that said, he could still win this, but arguably he could have won this perhaps a bit more efficient then. Any more to there? Abandon. That's a great killer for IncaUna. Almost got the Grenadier squad here with the T-35. 7 kills. H-5 almost done. Target tank repaired. There you go. Control caught here by the target tank. And it's 88mm gun and machine guns. Ripping apart their poor Dimitri. Boris. Maybe even Ivan. And in the west side, the Panther 4 is knocked out. Can quickly replace it, I think, with the Stug or another Panther 4. But we got the H-5 finally arriving here for Ruby and the Red Army. Meanwhile, the Tiger Tank isn't dying in repairs, but it's also getting fairly close to the ace level. Which is where it then gets mobility bonus and rate of fire bonus, which is where the Tiger Tank gets really mean. That said, it is fairly rare to see like a veteran C3 Tiger Tank, in part because some matches just end before it gets that far. But also, like, a lot of players just tend to misuse the heavy tanks, and that way they just never get the chance. Either because they don't use the Tiger Tank, or they just throw it away really easily. So it is always interesting to see a Tiger Tank get this far in terms of like experience, because it is fairly rare. We got 168, 147. I mean, Ruby's really close to the gap between him and IncaUna now, really well. Tiger Tank is moving again for IncaUna. Really needs some more armor. Also need to, I think, push for the more periphery victory points rather than focus much on the center one here, though I can understand they decided to just crack Ruby's center like it's a porcelain spine, but that might be a bit too ambitious. But there you go, tactical movement. Deutschland forwards here from IncaUna, charging ahead here. Conscripts being ripped apart as the Tiger Tank advances near ace level. We got Mark there again over this infantry blitz here. Ruby may not be able to like just line up to fire at the Tiger Tank easily here, and there you go. Almost got the field crew. T-35 almost getting knocked out here. Tiger Tank is very close to the ace level here. It is ever close. Got contact on the flank here. Grenades ripping through here. Ruby's infantry pack being pushed back here. Tiger Tank, there we go. Rifle grenades en masse. There we go. Tiger Tank reaches the ace level. A hero of the Reich has been born. 39 kills for Deutschland. A truly dangerous movement here for Ruby. Another Panther on the way. That said, IncaUna needs to get his hands on those victory points soon. We have seen German players lose because they lost out of the victory points recently, haven't we? Moving in the Tiger Tank on the eastern victory points, so that way he can repair the Tiger Tank while getting the point here. But of course, there's a slight downside to this one, which is also, you know, signals his opponent potentially there's a really big artillery target for the heavy mortar. So not without its flaws there. Troops reinforcing healing, Panther 4, 2/3 of the way done here. In the center, the 14 years as they tried to push forwards for the glory of the Soviet peoples, instead only found themselves being mowed down in the name of the Reich. Mortar fire, field gun fire. The machine is just taking all of the punishment here from the Red Army. 98 points left on the 47. Ruby has in fact gained the lead over IncaUna. That said, IncaUna's Tiger Ace is once more almost right here. There you go, wrecking the sandbags, pushing up to the western victory point there. Thumbs up. In the center, the conflict squad is now met with an ace MG42 team there, veteranly free, just expertly ripping the conscripts several superfluous new breathing holes. Situation here for Ruby is looking spicy. Panther 48 engaging the field, got to get the Tiger Tank, and in fact he may just want to blitz here. There we go, almost got one of the field crews here. There's still the H5 obviously. In the west side here, Cornelius was a massive Soviet infantry assault here. Ruby frantically throws everything can to the west, but that leaves the center and the east. But there you go, Tiger Tank rolls ahead here. 40 kills for Deutschland. Okay, didn't get the kill out where the H5 is down. And that he's also lost the T-35. He's down just 2 field guns and some infantry, which could work out still, particularly still has the victory point lead, but also for the ace Tiger Tank here, there's certainly a lot of opportunity for things to go very, very south for Ruby very fast. Need to fix up that Tiger Tank Schnell, and there you go, Ruby surrenders, realizing against the might of the Reich. At this stage, there's not much Ruby can do. So there you go, GG game over. I think a really well fought fight for the most part, Ruby, but again, I feel like that lack of more tanks when they had the resources So that way gain a more upper hand. I think it was a mistake there by Ruby. IncaUna, I think, also had a few risks over the Titan. Was able to utilize the Titan tank well, and actually turn the game around based on that. So well played there. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment. If you like what the Propagandacast does, consider donating or Patreon page and support, or just comment, like, share. This is Imperial 18. Cheers, and see you all tomorrow for another episode. Bye.